This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
I love space and I love all this stuff with Artemis. Artemis makes history after it did a historic moon flyby. It went around the moon and saw the dark side of the moon. And just a few moments ago, President Trump talked to the Artemis crew after they did that historic trick. And here is President Trump.
Thing into the stars, this incredible journey into the stars. So I just wanted, it's an honor to speak to you, and I wanted to congratulate each and every one of you. And tell me, what is the most unforgettable part of this really historic day? The whole world is watching and listening. Please tell me.
We've seen from Earth for all of our lives, but we're seeing them from a different perspective, and then we started to get a glimpse of the and we saw sites, Oriental sites that no human has ever seen before, not even in Apollo, and that was amazing for us. And then the surprise of the day, we just came out of an eclipse where the sun, moon, and the entire dark moon about that big right out the window that we were watching. We could see the corona of the sun, and then we could see the planet train line up, and we at Mars, and all of us commented how excited we are to watch this nation and this planet become a two-planet species.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, the reception, you can hear a little clipping, but sometimes it sounds better than a phone call if you're calling like somebody down the street. And he's talking to the Artemis crew. That was when he was talking to them live just a few minutes ago. And who better to talk about all of this and about this historic mission? And boy, what an incredible night it has been. Dr. Sky, i.e. Steve Cates, we love him. And Dr. Sky, first of all, how cool is that to hear the President of the United States calling in? There they are. They just took a turn. They just went around the full moon, wow. Made history. And there was President Trump calling in to them. Hello, you know?
Yes, well, what a historic day, Rita, for American space and the technology that we have. And as many people may have heard, these astronauts went farther out into space as far as any human ever, beyond that of what they did back in April the 15th of 1970 with Apollo 13. But more important than that, what can be more important than that, Rita, is the sightings and the science that they're conducting right now. As Reed Weissman mentioned, the commander, they've also, in honor of his late wife, Carol, there's now a new lunar crater named in honor of his wife who passed, sadly, from cancer a number of years ago. And the spelling of the crater is Carrolll. What an honor. But it's amazing, Rita, to see this science take place. They obviously went into the darkness and behind, as we call it, the far side of the moon at 6:44 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's unusual, Rita, because in the future, like the Chinese, they put a relay satellite around the moon so that in the future iterations, if we do the same thing, there'll be no more. That'll be just a piece of history where there's a big blackout. So a lot of great science happening today. And seeing what? A total eclipse of the sun by the moon. That must have been literally, the word astronomical cannot be used too much. More than that, it's amazing.
It is amazing. So now walk us through sort of the schedule. Like, when do they come back? And what do they do between now and the landing, I guess? And where do they land? Where are they coming in?
Well, they're going to come in hopefully on the 10th, and the specific time, of course, varies, but they're on a direct mission, back to the Earth. It's called a free return trajectory. Now, this is interesting without going into too much of the deep science. The spacecraft understands from its, orbital dynamics, the moon's gravity and simplicity, Rita, is what's pulling it around, and it should, obviously. They've done this many times with Apollos. It will splash down in the Pacific Ocean. Obviously, we're not sure the exact location, but they have a very critical maneuver to perform. They have to separate from, that is the Orion capsule integrity, from the remainder of the support part, which is behind them. And literally, this is all rocket science, no kidding. They have to be able to come directly into the atmosphere at the right angle. Now, always to be positive here, if it were not the right angle, they could literally skip across the atmosphere and be out there in space forever, never to return. So there's a lot of critical science here. They did this many, many times, but they'll be coming back with the highest velocity, at least that's what NASA tells us, at about 25,000 miles an hour, Rita. I haven't gone that fast, have you? That's amazing to come back.
Not since my high school days.
Wow. And that was a big event, I'm sure. But it's amazing. So right now, if you look at the nasa.gov website, people should go there if they want to track it. The spacecraft right now is about 11,330 miles away from the moon, thus giving us evidence that they're returning. And their velocity is not really that high. They're a little over 1,000 miles an hour as they lose slowly the gravitational pull of the moon and get to a point where they'll start accelerating. I'm not exactly sure where, but on the way back, well, Mother Earth will pull them back in at a higher velocity. But Rita, something from the trivia file that I find very interesting. The first creatures, other than humans, to ever go to the moon were back by Russia. They sent a spacecraft called the Zond 5, which is called Probe 5. And they actually had 2 tortoises on board with some other animals. And those 2 tortoises actually were not fed. That's kind of sad. They wanted to see how they would handle space. So they went out toward the moon, did kind of a flyby, and returned. And you know how long tortoises live. So even today, Rita, the offspring of those tortoises, or who knows, maybe they're still around. But that's a fact. It wasn't just humans.
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Wow.
That's amazing stuff. A little bit on the trivia side, but hey, there's so much to report about the Artemis 2. And there again, as I mentioned, moving back toward the Earth at good velocity. But on the comedic side, if we have just a moment.
Yeah, what about the toilet? By the way, I got to ask you about the toilet, right? Isn't it like the most expensive toilet in world history? And it's
Rita,
not working.
Right. That toilet has caused more concerns right now. So they were saying just before they got close to the moon that they obviously had a problem with the urine or the liquid waste component. But in many cases, they're venting that out into space. The other side of the human waste, obviously, that's compacted and stored to be released, once they return home. So that's an amazing story, too. But Rita, from the comedic side, if you were to take Nathan's famous hot dogs, and somebody came up with this, and line them up edge to edge, back to back, it would take 2.37 billion hot dogs just to be able to get to the moon. So Joey Chestnut would be a very busy person, don't you think?
Yeah, he would be. Oh, my God. That's a good analogy. Joey Chestnut looks like a novice compared to that. It's amazing the distance, just like you said, and you could even to hear the connection, the fact of how far technology is, that the president is able to call in live and say, hey, a good run around the moon, guys. It's
amazing.
It is. I just pinch myself, and I know that you do too. We are living in amazing times, and lucky for those tortoises. I can't believe they beat us. Doesn't the hare usually beat the tortoise? I'm trying to remember, right?
That's a good way to put it. But one final thing, Rita, this is very interesting. They did observe, they took turns, 2 and 2 at a time to look out the windows, but they were doing more than looking. They were photographing regions on the moon. But this is interesting. They actually observed meteor strikes onto the surface of the moon.
How neat.
Now, I've observed lunar eclipses, like many people, for about 50 years, and a good friend of mine was videotaping from Earth one of the deep parts of the deep red blood moon, and he captured some bright spots on the moon, but they actually saw them only some 4,000 miles above the lunar surface. So that, not to scare people or the astronauts of the future, these debris come in, and there's really no atmosphere, obviously, there. So when they come down like the rock or piece of metal or iron or nickel iron that they are. So that's a future thing for astronauts and habitation, to try to protect some sort of a shell. And some believe, since there's a lot of these deep pocket holes and craters, that we can actually burrow out or go inside one of those areas that's already dug out as a crater to be an extra protection for a future lunar habitation and to keep it away from the radiation that would be harmful to astronauts.
Wow, that is really interesting. You're right. That's really helpful for future endeavors, and there will be many. Yes. That is for sure. Steve Cates, Dr. Sky, we love you. And, of course, you want to make sure you tune in Fridays and Saturday nights, midnight to 2 a.m. You can always listen to Dr. Sky and also hear him also on WABCRadio.com. You're the best, and I'm sure we'll be talking later this week.
Always remember to keep your eyes to the skies. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you very much. And look for the tortoises, too. Thank you very much. That was really interesting. Dr. Sky, thanks so much.
This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.